فاشترط المؤلف شرطين لكفر. الشرط الأول إذا دعاه إمام أو نائب.
The author stipulated two conditions for the disbelief of someone who abandons prayer out of laziness.
فإن كان هذا الرجل
The first condition, if the person is called to perform the prayer by the imam or his deputy.
لم يدعوانه
The second condition, that the time for the second prayer becomes too short to perform the first.
مع الأسف الشديد.
If a person has abandoned prayer, but neither the imam nor his deputy called him to perform it, as is unfortunately common today, then he is not considered a disbeliever.
عند أصحابه
According to the well-known position of Imam Ahmad and his companions, no one in our time can be judged as a disbeliever for abandoning prayer because they are not being called to it. People today are left to manage their own religious practices and responsibilities, and thus they are not judged as disbelievers because this condition is not met.
الناس متروكون.
Similarly, if the imam or his deputy calls someone to pray and the time for the first prayer passes without action, but the imam remains silent, the person is not considered a disbeliever.
كذلك
The imam must continue to call him until the time for the second prayer has almost passed.
لو خرج
So what's the reasoning behind this? We might say, for instance, the texts that declare the one who abandons prayer a disbeliever don't contain these two conditions. So where did you derive these conditions from?
طيب العلة
They say, if the imam hasn't called him to pray, we cannot be sure that he has abandoned it out of laziness.
في تكفير
He may believe he has a valid excuse, even though it is not actually a valid excuse.
وليس فيها هذان
But if the imam calls him to pray and he persists in abandoning it, then we know the person is not excused.
بهذين الشرطين.
As for the time for the second prayer became too short, it's possible he may think it's permissible to combine the prayers without an excuse.
أنه ترك
This is apparent when the time for the second prayer, which can be combined with the first, is about to run out.
قد يكون معه
However, this reasoning is less clear when the time for the second prayer, which cannot be combined with the first, is about to run out, such as between Asr and Maghrib.